Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my weight loss update video. I have not been very consistent with putting these out, so I'm going to try to aim for more consistency. I'm going to actually kind of backtrack a little bit because I do have, some new subscribers that are not familiar with my history. So, I am 52. I have been keto for, I'm going to say some version of keto for about maybe 3 years, 4 years. So just some background. At my heaviest, I was 247 pounds. In 2013, I had gastric bypass. I lost some weight. It started creeping back up. I think at that point I might have been doing, or maybe shortly afterwards, I may have started doing paleo. I found paleo and it was okay. It's a very, very good diet that anyone can do, because it focuses on whole foods. Again, it's a good diet anyone can do. Kids, especially kids nowadays, need to be doing a paleo diet. With all these kids on all this medication for hyperactivity and just all kind of stuff going on with them, it's a whole foods diet. And I don't think any child has ever died from not having a popsicle, going to McDonald's, eating a candy bar, eating cake, eating pies. No kid has ever died, and no adult has ever died, period. So that's my point of view, is at the bare minimum, everyone should be doing a paleo diet. Now, I had to step it up a little bit. I started learning from the paleo diet, dipping my toes into some low carb, and eventually learning about the ketogenic diet. What I did find, at least from doing the paleo diet, when I introduced cheese back into my diet, I found that I did have a problem with cheese. For the longest, I thought, I'm fine with cheese. I knew that I was lactose intolerant. I couldn't do heavy creams and all that stuff. But I thought, yeah, I'm fine with cheese and all that. I found out, no, I'm not okay with cheese. So that was a bummer until probably about maybe a year and a half ago, I found Cabot cheese, which is just extremely wonderful. It is lactose free. So I followed a lot of people on the ketogenic diet. I tried to refine mine. I noticed at some point it stopped working quite so well for me. And I want to say it was around the time I started going into menopause, but I can't really be sure. The weight kept creeping up and I kept getting frustrated. I kept watching people just drop tons of weight, and it was just horrible for me. I actually bought books and I listened to Leanne Vogel. And in hindsight, if I had listened and actually followed her the way I was supposed to and not been so afraid of the carbs, I would have lost more weight a lot sooner. So with my body going into menopause and my hormones and everything, my journey required a little bit more, carbs. And I bought her book and all of that and didn't follow it. I was just scared. And I was scared of what other keto YouTubers would think of me if I, dipped my toes into upping my carbs and all of that. So fast forward to now, Dr. Mindy Pills. I started following her protocol and I trusted the process. It was hard. Believe me when I say it was hard. It was difficult for someone to say, well, for your hormones, you're going to need at least 50 net carbs, get in your healthy fats, and eat X amount of protein. It was difficult, but I did it, and I trust the process, and the weight started coming off. So with her protocol, it is the 50 net carbs, but it's your healthy carbs, not junk. And you have 1 day of hormone building where you are going to be eating a lot more carbs. And carbs in the way of healthy carbs, okay? And you're getting some fruit in. And you need that kind of stuff, women more so, when you're going through menopause to help with your hormones so they're not all out of whack. What I found as the longer I did it, the weight, was going, it would still go up and down, but it was more of a downward trend. And on the hormone days, I would expect the next day to be water weight. And sometimes it would even surprise me. My weight would stay the same, or I would even lose some weight. So I say all of that in a way, just catching people up as to what I do, but also to not be afraid of change. If something isn't working for your body, don't be afraid to change up those macros and to do a little bit of experimenting and reaching out to other people and trying something different, even though if it seems a little bit scary and out of the norm. So I'm still keto, but my keto looks different for my body. So with that being said, we're going to get right into my weight, and I am at 171.8 as of this morning. And I look back 1 year ago. 1 year ago, I was actually 192.4. So yeah, it's in a year, it's about 20 pounds. I don't care. I'm a slow loser anyway. And at this point, I would like to lose 20 more pounds. Let's see, that will put me at 150. And at that weight, they would still consider me overweight, but I don't care. But I think at 150, I will reevaluate and see how I feel, see how my clothes fit, and go from there. Recently, I've been struggling a little bit, and I think it's because I am 20 pounds away from where I want to be, and my mind is just, it's a little bit harder. The less amount you have to lose, the harder it gets. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, is if I'm going to step away from the scale for a moment and maybe go back to just hardcore tracking and weighing my foods, and for maybe 2 weeks, and then see where I'm at. Because I already kind of know the foods that my body like and does not like. So I'm thinking, very strongly of going in that direction and not putting that pressure on myself every morning getting on the scale. So, because I weigh myself every morning. So, yeah, I'm thinking about that, or the bare minimum once a week, not every single day, to see where I'm at. And that's kind of my update. So just a little bit more of a backstory. At my heaviest, what prompted me to get the gastric bypass, which is a really good tool in the toolbox, was I was just tired of being heavy. I went to my daughter's graduation. I flew, and I felt for me a treat would be to fly first class, and the seatbelt wouldn't fit. I was mortified. I get there, and when we go to the graduation, my daughter, she's much taller than me. She's very slim. So she's walking in her heels and I'm struggling to keep up and I'm huffing and I'm puffing. And it's just like, I get there and it's stadium like seating and I'm like, oh my God, all these stairs. I think out of desperation, when I got back home, I seriously, looked into the gastric bypass. Like I said, it's a wonderful tool in a toolbox. Right now where I sit, looking back at it, I don't regret it. But what I would have done had I known about the ketogenic diet and all the variations, I probably would have gotten someone to work with me and to help me to see first if by doing a ketogenic diet, the weight would have came off instead of having the gastric bypass. Now, what I would say with the gastric bypass, you have to go to classes, it's steps before you can actually have that type of surgery. So I didn't know all the things that could be a side effect. Some of the things, what I'm finding for myself, a lasting side effect is I do have gastrointestinal issues, especially around digesting meats and foods. It sits very heavy. I can get very bloated. I struggle with constipation constantly. So, and I'm not very good at the whole water drinking. That's probably one thing, but the surgery did not help in that issue. It compounded and made it a lot worse. I would say prior to surgery, I didn't have that issue, but now I do, and I'm finding ways to deal with it. So I know one is going to have to be, I'm going to really have to up my water intake. But like I said, had I known about the ketogenic diet and all the variations, that might have been a path I would have went down with some help. Because I was so deep into my addiction. And yes, it was, I was food addict. Carbs, the sugar, couldn't stay away from it. It was nothing for me to take down a whole loaf of bread in a matter of days. Yeah. I would just binge eat and eat large quantities of food. So nobody knew, just how bad it was for me, because most of the time I would do a lot of that in secrecy. I would get up to go to work on my way to work because Jack in the Box was 24 hours. I would go there and get a large soda, hamburger, large fries, head on to work. And by the time I pull into that parking lot, the food is gone. At work, sometimes they say, oh, we're going to order from so-and-so restaurant. So yeah, I eat out again. I get home, I eat out. So by my best estimate, and this is just an estimate, I could have easily been consuming at least 3,000 calories a day. Yeah. It was a struggle walking, a struggle going upstairs. My joints ached. I was always out of breath and tired. And I knew something had to change. So, like I said, the surgery was a good starting point, but the surgery was not a cure-all because a lot of it had to do with up here. And I think that's where weight loss starts. Weight loss starts in your head, period. If you don't get your head right and wrapped around why you're doing the things that you do, what brought you to it, I'm not going to say you're not going to lose weight. You can, but it's going to be yo-yo. You're going to go in a circle. You're going to be spinning your tail all the time. Up and down, up and down, up. And that is not good for the metabolism of the body. So I would suggest anyone that's struggling or getting ready to embark on what I'm going to call a lifestyle change, make sure mentally you're prepared and that you've taken some time to kind of figure out what got you to where you are. And also to know that with a lifestyle change, it's going to be painful. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. You are going to have to go through the pains of withdrawal, just like any other addict does, before you can get to the other side. And even on the other side, there is still that temptation sometimes. So what I would suggest is, like I say, getting your head straight and making sure you have a damn good support system, because you're going to need it. To help you stay on the right track, to encourage you. You do not want enablers. This is the time that you do want, believe it or not, some tough love. And people telling you, yes, you can do it. This is temporary and you're going to get through it. So I would say get your support system in place. Make sure your mindset is in the right place, and you've done some soul searching and you did some figuring out how you got to where you are, and you have a clear roadmap of where you want to go and how you're going to get there, and to know that it could be a little bit bumpy. So this is just my update on my weight, where I'm at. So I'm going to continue the path that I'm down as far as the foods that I'm eating and all of that. I've done somewhat more or less a more strict, more cleaner keto, because I think it's really important, you know, the type of foods I put in my body to not have a lot of chemicals. As I get older, I'm trying to get healthier from the inside out. My biggest fear is being a burden on my kids, being a burden on society, and that's not something I want. So I know there are times where I may not be able to eat the cleanest, but if I'm doing that at least 95% of the time, I'm happy, choosing healthier options, cleaner options. So like I said, that is my update. If you have questions or concerns, or there's something I didn't cover that you want to know about me, please do not hesitate to ask. Down below, please leave your comment and I will respond. And I hope everyone is doing well on their journey, because I know it is not easy all the time. We are starting to come out of the pandemic, and that was just a really, I'm just being honest, hellacious time for a lot of people to be cooped up, and some people lost their jobs, and to not be able to have the interactions the way you want to. So I can imagine that and being easy, you know, to fall off track, to be depressed and have that kind of stress. So I'm wishing everyone well, and I'm here to support you, and hopefully you're here to support me. And I'm going to do a lot better with being accountable for at least checking in once a month on my weight loss, because I don't really talk about it daily. I don't really bring that kind of stuff up. So I will be more cognizant to set aside some time once a month to give you updates as to where I'm at and all of that. And more than likely, I'll probably do recaps, because a lot of people don't know my journey. It's been quite the journey and kind of chaotic a little bit, but I'm getting there. So with that being said, I'm going to close this out. If you have questions, please leave them below. And thank you so much. You guys are so wonderful. Have a great Sunday.